Hi, it's Sarah Gibson Tuttle, the founder of Olive and June. Can I tell you the one thing that always makes my day better? A fresh manicure. But here's the thing, who has the time or budget to go to the nail salon every week? That's why we created the Olive and June Gel Mani System. It gives you that same glossy, long-lasting mani you get at a salon for so much less. It comes with everything you need, a pro-level LED lamp, salon-grade tools, our damage-free gel polish that lasts up to 21 days. Just prep, paint, cure, and you're good to go. And the best part, it's so easy and super affordable. So skip that $80 salon appointment. Get that salon quality look at home on your schedule. Head to oliveandjune.com/DIYgel20 and use code DIYgel20 for 20% off your first gel mani system. That's oliveandjune.com/DIYgel20. Code DIYgel20 for 20% off your first gel mani system.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because Clear the Rack is on at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through Tuesday, find incredible deals on Wear Now styles, on sale for even less at Nordstrom Rack. Take an extra 25% off red tag clearance throughout the store from brands like Vince, AG, Madewell, and more. All sales final. The best stuff goes fast, so shop this sale at Nordstrom Rack today. Please see nordstromrack.com or ask a store associate for details.
Hi, this is Knox from the Popcast with Knox and Jamie. And maybe like us at the Popcast, you also know people who have been smokers or vapors. And Zyn is the one product it seems like everyone is talking about, because there are many good reasons to make a change to Zyn nicotine pouches. Reasons like Zyn nicotine pouches are still America's #1 choice for smoke-free, hands-free nicotine satisfaction. And you can choose between 10 varieties, each variety available in either 3 or 6 milligrams. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
So good, so good, so good.
Score holiday gifts everyone wants for way less at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save on UGG, Nike, Rag & Bone, Vince, Frame, Kurt Geiger London, and more.
Because there's always something new.
I'm giving all the gifts this year with that extra 5% off when I use my Nordstrom credit card. Santa who?
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock our best deals. It's easy. Big gifts, big perks. That's why you rack.
Hi, it's Sarah. I'm the founder of Olive and June. And can I tell you the one thing that always makes my day better? A fresh manicure. But who has the time or the money to go to the salon every week? That's why we created the Olive and June Gel Mani System. It gives you that same mani that you get at a salon for so much less. It comes with everything you need, a pro-level lamp, salon-grade tools, our damage-free gel polish that lasts up to 21 days. All you do is prep, paint, cure, and you're good to go. And the best part, it's super easy and so affordable. Each mani breaks down to $2. So let's skip that $80 salon appointment and get the salon quality look at home for so much less and on your schedule. Head to oliveandjune.com/DIYgel20 and use code DIYgel20 for 20% off your first gel mani system. That's oliveandjune.com/DIYgel20. Code DIYgel20 for 20% off your first gel mani system.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods After Dark. I've got one long story today, as per normal. It's a really good one, this. I really enjoyed researching and recording this one. We'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story? Sharon Tate wakes with a jolt in the dead of night, heart pounding in her chest. The 26-year-old actress finds herself alone in a silent, sprawling house nestled in Benedict Canyon. Only a dim bedside lamp is on. She always keeps one lit for comfort. but the darkness beyond its glow feels heavy and watchful. As Sharon's eyes adjust, she realises with a chill that she is not alone. In the corner of the bedroom stands a shadowy figure, small in stature, its outline barely distinguishable from the gloom. For a moment, she hopes it's a trick of groggy vision. The figure remains unnaturally still. It reminds her of a creepy little man she would later recall, one that looked strikingly like photos she'd seen of Paul Byrne, the long-dead former owner of this very house. Frozen in terror, Sharon squeezes her eyes shut, willing the apparition to vanish. But when she opens them, the figure is still there, hovering by the foot of her bed. Finally, fear propels her into action. She bolts upright and runs out of the bedroom, down the hall and toward the staircase. Her bare feet slap the hardwood stairs as she descends, adrenaline surging. But what greets her at the bottom is even more horrifying than the phantom upstairs. In the faint light, Sharon sees what looks like a body tied to the staircase, a rope around its neck. Blood is everywhere. The figure, whether man or woman, she can't quite tell, has its throat slashed open. Sharon stifles a scream. For an instant, she has the dizzying sense that she is looking at herself. In her panicked, disorientated state, she cannot shake the feeling that the corpse could be Jay Sebring, a dear friend and former lover. Or chillingly, Sharon Tate herself. The vision is so ghastly and surreal that Sharon isn't sure if she's dreaming or in the grip of a waking nightmare. Trembling and desperate for relief, Sharon stumbles into a nearby sitting room. Her breath comes in shallow gasps as she fumbles for a light switch. The house is deathly quiet, as if holding its breath with her. She spots a built-in bookcase and, acting on a strange impulse, tugs it open, revealing a hidden nook with a small bar inside. Her shaking hands grape for a bottle. As she takes a gulp of whiskey to steady her nerves, her mind races. What did I just see? Was it a ghostly warning? A premonition? Gradually, the house returns to stillness. The phantom on the stairs is gone. Eventually, Sharon drifts into a troubled sleep once more, convincing herself it had to have been a hallucination or nightmare. Little does she know, this encounter will haunt her long after the sun rises. A chilling vision that, in hindsight, feels like a prophecy of doom. That terrifying night took place around 1966, when Sharon was an up-and-coming actress and model. At the time, she was staying at the Benedict Canyon home of celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, with whom she'd had a romantic relationship from 1964 to 1966. The house, located at 9820 Eastern Drive, had a history as twisted as a Hollywood thriller. Decades earlier, it belonged to actress Jean Harlow and her husband Paul Byrne, a movie producer. In 1932, Byrne died there from a gunshot to the head in an alleged suicide, though rumours of murder swirled. Locals whispered that Byrne's restless ghost still lingered in the home, and Jay Sebring, ever drawn to the morbid and macabre, had purchased the property in the early 60s, fully aware of its tragic legacy. Sharon Tate had spent time at the house during her romance with Sebring, and even after they amicably parted ways, he remained a close friend. When Sharon found herself between residences one summer, Jay offered his infamous Harlow house as a place for her to stay. The mansion was a picturesque 1930s craftsman, elegant on the outside, but steeped in unsettling lore on the inside. Late at night, every creak of the old floorboards seemed to carry a ghostly echo. It was here, alone in Sebring's house, that Sharon experienced the fright of her life, the encounter with the creepy little man upstairs, and the horrifying vision of the staircase. In that moment, Sharon felt certain she had witnessed something beyond a bad dream. A sort of vision of someone tied to the staircase, she later recounted, still shaken. It might have been me. It might have been Jay. Whoever it was cut open at the throat. The experience left her deeply disturbed. She confided this story to a journalist friend, wondering aloud if the ghost of Paul Byrne might have returned to issue her a dire warning. In the months and years after, Sharon tried to move past that night. She married Polish director Roman Polanski in 1968 and radiated happiness as she settled into a new home on Cielo Drive. Friends would later say Sharon referred to that Cielo residence as her love house, a fairy tale cottage where she felt safe and blissful. As for the Benedict Canyon ghost encounter, Sharon's family and closest friends were sceptical. After tragedy struck, they vehemently denied that Sharon had ever truly had a premonition of her death. Perhaps they found the notion too painful to accept, or perhaps Sharon herself doubted it, chalking it up to a frightening hallucination. In 1970, a sensational article in Fate magazine titled "Sharon Tate's Preview of Murder" brought the story to the public, suggesting that Sharon had somehow foreseen the carnage to come. The people who knew and loved Sharon insisted it wasn't so, that Sharon never believed in such omens, yet the details of her account were hard to dismiss. Many readers couldn't help but wonder if the house on Eastern Drive, already marked by the untimely deaths of Paul Byrne and others, gave Sharon Tate a genuine glimpse of her harrowing fate. Whether a supernatural warning or an overactive nightmare, Sharon's vision in that house left an impression, and it was not the last dark chapter linking Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, and the Benedict Canyon area. In a cruel stroke of coincidence, both Jay and the earlier mistress of the house, Jean Harlow, would also meet tragic ends far too young. Jean Harlow died in 1937 at the age of 26, and decades later, Sharon Tate, Hollywood's new rising star, would also be killed at 26 years old, just as her friend Jay Sebring died at the age of 35. These creepy coincidences led many to gossip about a curse. Paul Byrne's house had now seen multiple untimely deaths. Byrne himself, 2 other alleged suicides and a drowning, according to unverified local law, and eventually the murder of a man who lived there, Sebring, not on the premises, but close enough to feel cosmic in scope. Was the Benedict Canyon estate truly cursed? Did Paul Byrne's ghost return on that fateful night to warn Sharon and Jay of what was coming? And by August of 1969, any sense of security Sharon had cultivated in her love house was about to be shattered in a night of unthinkable horror. In the summer of 1969, Sharon Tate was 8 months pregnant and glowing with anticipation of motherhood. She and Roman Polanski were renting a charming home at 150 Cielo Drive, a secluded property at the end of a winding road in Los Angeles' Benedict Canyon. The one-time fairy tale cottage had been built in the 1940s and hosted a string of Hollywood luminaries over the years. Actress Candice Bergman, who lived there in 1966, with music producer Terry Melcher, described it as a never-never land far from the real world where nothing could go wrong. The estate was tucked behind gates and century-old trees, complete with a guest house and a wishing well by the patio. In Sharon's time, it earned the nickname the Love House for the warmth and joy she felt within its walls. Sharon spent some of her happiest days there in early 1969, lounging by the rustic swimming pool, decorating a nursery for the baby on the way, and hosting intimate gatherings with close friends. But just as Candice Bergman mused, nothing could go wrong in that idyllic haven. How wrong she was. Unbeknownst to Sharon, the dark shadow that had brushed against her life in a dreamlike vision was drawing inexplorably closer. The previous tenant, Terry Melcher, son of Doris Day, had crossed paths with an aspiring musician and ex-con named Charles Manson in 1968. Manson, a charismatic cult leader with delusions of rock stardom, had been introduced to Melcher through Beach Boys drummer Dennis Wilson. At one point, Manson even visited 150 Cielo Drive, hoping to charm Melcher into giving him a record deal. Melcher heard Manson perform, ultimately refused to sign him. That rejection festered like a wound. By mid-1969, Manson was enraged and spiralling, preaching to his fanatical followers about an impending apocalyptic race war he dubbed Helter Skelter. In Manson's twisted mind, the luxurious Cielo Drive home remained a symbol of the Hollywood elite who had slighted him, and he hadn't forgotten its location. On the night of August the 8th, 1969, Sharon Tate had invited a small group of friends to keep her company, while Polanski was working overseas. In the living room, 35-year-old Jay Sebring joked and chatted with Sharon. They were as close as family. Also staying over were Abigail Folger, 25, coffee heiress and social worker, and her boyfriend Wojtek Frakowski, 32, an aspiring writer, who relaxed with drinks as the warm summer evening wore on. None of them could have imagined the nightmare that was about to descend. In the early hours of August the 9th, 4 of Charles Manson's devotees repped up the dark canyon road toward the end of Cielo Drive. Manson had instructed them to go to that house, the one Melcher used to live in, and totally destroy everyone in it, as gruesome as you can. In the deepest dark before dawn, the Manson family struck. They slipped over the gate wall of 150 Cielo Drive, armed with knives, a pistol, and unimaginable hatred. They invaded the house and fell upon the unsuspecting occupants. What transpired inside was a scene of pure terror that would horrify the world. The attackers, Charles Tex Watson, Susan Atkins and Patricia Krenwinkel, with Linda Kasabian as lookout, showed no mercy. They bound Sharon and Jay together by the neck with a rope over a ceiling beam, subduing them and terrorising the others. In the chaos, Jay Sebring protested the gang's rough treatment of the pregnant Sharon and was shot and brutally stabbed to death in front of her. Abigail Folger and Wojtek Frykowski managed to break free and flee out into the night, but were chased down on the lawn and savagely murdered. 18-year-old Stephen Parent, a visitor who had been leaving from the guest house, was also gunned down in his car at the driveway gate. Finally, Sharon Tate, 8 months pregnant and trapped in a living nightmare, pleaded for the life of her unborn child. It was no use. The intruder stabbed her repeatedly in a frenzy of bloodlust, ending the young star's life in the most brutal fashion. By the time the murderer slipped away into the night, the beautiful love house on Cielo Drive had been transformed into a house of horrors. The next morning, the first to discover the carnage was Winifred Chapman, the housekeeper, who ran screaming from the property, shouting, "Murder! Death! Bodies! Blood!" Police who arrived at the scene found 5 bodies. Miraculously, one person on the property survived, the young caretaker, William Garretson, who had been staying in the guest house and was overlooked by the killers. The world soon learned of the Manson family murders, and the name Sharon Tate became synonymous with one of the most shocking crimes in American history. Even experienced investigators were shaken by what they found inside. In front of the couch, 2 pools of blood marked where Jay and Sharon fell. The word pig, scrawled in Sharon's own blood by Susan Atkins, dripped across the front door. And in a macabre twist of fate, reality did imitate art. Just 1 year earlier, Roman Polanski had directed Rosemary's Baby, a film about a pregnant woman terrorised by a satanic cult. Now Polanski's own pregnant wife had been slaughtered by cult killers in their home. One of the attackers, Tex Watson, had even sneered at Wojtek Frykowski during the rampage. "I'm the devil, and I've come to do the devil's work." The dark irony was not lost on anyone. A story about demonic evil had leapt off the movie screen and manifested in Polanski's real life. A coincidence that has led many to view Rosemary's Baby as a cursed film, forever entwined with the tragedy on Cielo Drive. That August night effectively marked the end of the 1960s in the public imagination. The era of peace and love had been stabbed to death alongside Sharon Tate. In the aftermath, Hollywood was overcome by panic and paranoia. No one could fathom a motive so twisted. Manson's delusional race war prophecy wouldn't come to light until his arrest months later. But one thing was clear: 150 Cielo Drive was now a monument of infamy. The once enchanted cottage in the hills had become a place of darkness. Even after the crime scene was cleaned and the blood scrubbed away, an intangible stain remained. Friends of Sharon described an oppressive aura clinging to the house, a palpable darkness that seemed to seep from the walls in the wake of the murders. It was as if the sheer brutality of that night had imprinted itself on the property, ensuring that the story was far from over. After the murders, 150 Cielo Drive stood quiet and empty. The owner, Rudy Altabelli, who ironically had been living in the guest house during Sharon's tenancy, he was abroad on the actual night, moved into the main house himself in late 1969 because he couldn't find anyone else willing to rent the infamous property. Altabelli stayed for 2 decades, insisting that the grotesque history did not affect him. But visitors sensed something was off. Those who stepped inside the house often felt an oppressive energy hanging over the place, like a cloud of grief and terror that wouldn't disperse. There were reports of the home's electrical systems malfunctioning inexplicably, lights flickering or radios turning on and off on their own. People spoke of cold spots in certain rooms on hot summer days, of pets barking at empty corners. Nothing overtly spectral, no chains rattling or ghostly figures saying boo. Yet the atmosphere was undeniably heavy. The home itself is haunted, one later tenant remarked, haunted by the memory of what happened there. Some even claim the spirits of the victims never fully left. Over the years, whispers spread of occasional paranormal occurrences. Inhabitants and visitors reported subtle but unnerving phenomena. Objects that mysteriously moved from one place to another. Doors found open that had been closed. A breeze carrying the faint scent of women's perfume through the halls. A few people swore they saw shadowy silhouettes or felt presences. According to one popular legend, the ghost of Sharon Tate has been glimpsed wandering near the site of her former home. By the early 1990s, the owner finally decided it was time to erase the physical structure of the murder house. In 1994, the original house was torn down, razed to its foundations. A new luxury villa was built on the lot, and even the street address was changed from 10050 to 10066 Cielo Drive, in an effort to dispel the past. But as one paranormal enthusiast stated, energy cannot be destroyed. The land remembers. Not long after the new mansion went up, odd stories began to emerge from the neighbours in the canyon. In 1999, a man named David Oman and his father purchased a vacant plot just 150 to 200 feet from the old Tate property, down the same private drive. They built a modern house on the steep hillside and moved in around 2002. David Oman had no particular connection to the Manson case at first, but he certainly does now. Almost immediately, during construction, workers on Oman's house reported strange goings-on. One labourer fled the site and refused to come back for weeks after hearing unsettling footsteps and feeling like an unseen presence was watching him. Oman himself soon experienced what he describes as a barrage of paranormal activity. Lights turned themselves on and off, doors unlatched and swung open on their own, and then came the apparitions. Oman claims that on multiple occasions he saw full-body spirits inside his new home. In one especially chilling incident, he woke to see a figure standing at the foot of his bed. The unmistakable form of Jay Sebring, the slain friend of Sharon Tate. The apparition of Sebring appeared solid and lifelike, dressed just as he might have been in the late 60s, silently pointing as if to draw Oman's attention toward the site of the murders down the hill. Before Oman could react, the figure vanished. It was an encounter he would never forget. Word spread quickly in the paranormal community that the area around the old Tate house was a hotspot of ghostly phenomena. Investigators with EMF meters, spirit boxes, and infrared cameras flocked to Oman's residence, eager to communicate with whatever lingered. The house's activity was extensively featured on TV shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, earning it nicknames like the Mount Everest of haunted houses and Disneyland for the dead. Ghost Hunters described disembodied voices captured on tape, sudden cold drafts on warm nights, and even physical touches from unseen hands. On some evenings, phantom figures have reportedly been seen peering from the brush along Cielo Drive, or flickering briefly into view inside Oman's home. Many are convinced that the spirits of Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, and their friends are frequent visitors from beyond, unable or unwilling to move on. Oman himself believes Sharon's spirit has made her presence known, gently, without malice, as if watching over the place where her life was so cruelly cut short. Even those who are skeptics can't completely ignore the strange tales. In one account, a paranormal researcher named Scott Michaels, an expert on Hollywood tragedies, brought some physical relics from Cielo Drive into his own home, pieces of stone from the fireplace that he had collected when the house was demolished. Afterward, Michaels reported seeing a shadowy person standing in his bedroom doorway on 2 separate nights. He later learned that psychics who visited could sense an energy emanating from the exact spot where he stored those fireplace stones. Could a fragment of the house carry a spiritual imprint? Michaels wasn't sure, but he didn't keep the haunted stones for long. He also experienced a bizarre incident on the 50th anniversary of the murders. While driving up Cielo Drive to pay respects, his well-maintained van spontaneously caught fire without explanation. He recalled that multiple psychics had warned him not to go up there that day. The timing of the vehicle fire, right at the entrance to the old property, on the very date of the massacre, sent a chill down his spine. Maybe it was just a freak coincidence, or maybe the unseen forces of Cielo Drive were sending a message.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because Clear the Rack is on at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through Tuesday, find incredible deals on Wear Now styles, on sale for even less at Nordstrom Rack. Take an extra 25% off red tag clearance throughout the store from brands like Vince, AG, Madewell, and more. All sales final. The best stuff goes fast, so shop this sale at Nordstrom Rack today. Please see NordstromRack.com or ask a store associate for details.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
It's so harrowing, this story. I don't even know what to comment. And how terrifying if Sharon did actually see that premonition, because I imagine that it was something that would always stay with you, even if it was years and years before. To have seen something so terrifying I think you'd know the difference, that maybe this was a premonition. I've had a few sort of premonition dreams that have driven me a bit crazy, I must admit. And even, I come around sometimes from regular nightmares and I'm like, what was going on? And they leave you with a bad taste in your mouth and you feel affected all day. Well, I do sometimes. And my daughter does, but if she has a bad nightmare, it can leave you feeling unsteady, I think, for the day after at least. So I can imagine what she must have felt, knowing that she was kind of awake and seeing herself, Jay, whoever it was, like that. Terrifying. Well, that's the end of this story, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
So good, so good, so good.
Score holiday gifts everyone wants for way less at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save on UGG, Nike, Rag & Bone, Vince, Frame, Kurt Geiger London, and more.
Because there's always something new.
I'm giving all the gifts this year with that extra 5% off when I use my Nordstrom credit card. Santa who?
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock our best deals. It's easy. Big gifts, big perks. That's why you rack. This holiday, give the gift that says, let's cancel plans and just lounge. MeUndies has dropped their new holiday collection, and it's made for maximum cozy. We're talking soft as snow ultramodal fabric, festive prints, and loungewear so comfy your couch might get jealous. Onesies, hoodies, joggers, even delightfully quirky holiday designs. You're welcome. Knock out all your holiday gifting needs with deals up to 60% off at MeUndies.com/ACAST. Enter promo code ACAST. That's MeUndies.com/ACAST. Code ACAST.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out Zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.